Hello, and welcome to Twin Bill, the show where two twins talk about what they want to talk about. This is not quite that. Uh, Me and Marcus are juggling some scheduling problems because Comic Con in San Diego is starting this week. I'm in Comic Con. I'm in Comic Con. I guess I'm in Comic Con in the general sense, it's like a mindset kind of thing. But I'm in San Diego. Comic Con, as of this recording, is starting tomorrow. So I thought today we'd do a little shorter, fun episode about what Jason talks about, not movie of the week, Dr. Detroit. Boy, is it difficult to find Dr. Detroit streaming. Apparently, poorly received, financially unsuccessful Saturday Night Live movie, Saturday Night Live alum movie with meandering plot that's not popular anymore. Shockingly, not a lot of demand to have that available online legally. So we're working on that. But also, we have some opinions about Superman 2025. And as of this recording, around Friday, Fantastic Four 2025, we'll do episodes about those movies as well at some point. I've kept the America shirt on to represent the nerds, like myself. So I thought I'd give a brief Comic Con preview. There's not much to say. I am not an expert on Comic Con. I have no inside information. I am not. Me/we, in terms of Marcus, are not having a presence at Comic Con, so I can't speak to that. I can't be like, come to booth number 69. Very nice. And see, no, there's nothing like that. So Comic Con is this Thursday, the 24th, until the Sunday, the 25. I think the 27th, the whole It's in the San Diego Convention Center in downtown San Diego, California, United States, North America, planet Earth. I love that joke. Yeah. What else? So today's Tuesday. I said it starts on Thursday, but also Wednesday evening, there's preview night. So preview night, logistically, is they said, like I said, there's 4 days of Comic Con regular. If you buy all four in a bundle, you can opt in to buy preview night as well. They sell less preview night tickets, and they open the floor at night. And it's pretty much just for walking around the floor with less of a crowd. It's really good for people like me who actually buy comic books. I think let's briefly talk about what I'm looking to shop for. I buy comic books. That's a big thing. I'm not a collector of comic books. I am a collector of comic books, but I'm not a collector of comic books for profit. I do not buy individual comic books based on perceived value or to accumulate them for my collection to later sell. I buy comic books I want to read, so I often seek out like bound collections of multiple comic books or graphic novels by authors I like. I am a rare appreciator of the comic book form, not just its inherent collector value, which is very common at Comic Con, I feel, both in terms of sellers and buyers. I'm also interested in graphic print T-shirts, like my Superman shirt for the nerds. Yeah, they have a lot of cool graphic tees there, a lot of Comic Con exclusives, which is it's just companies that come in for Comic Con, don't really have brick and mortar stores I see in San Diego or Los Angeles. I might buy a plush. I want a cute little animal. So I've bought Funko Pops in the past, but me and my brother Marcus have a lot of too many Funko Pops. That's why for purchasing. I don't know much about Star Power. If you follow in the news, you may have seen that every major movie studio, not even all of them, Carolco Pictures not going to be there. Canon Films not going to be there. United Artists not going to be there. How many more defunct film studios can I make for that joke? But no, the MCU, big studios, Paramount, Sony, whatever. I don't even know what the big studio, MGM, whatever big studio whatever big studio you would associate with coming to Comic Con in previous years. Very famously, you have big trailers, big reveals. In Hall H, it's just a bigger hall of the convention center. But anyway, the big news this year is that all those studios ain't coming to Comic Con anymore, or at least this year. And I think it's just a thought that there's general esoteric issues because people don't go to the movies as much anymore in the theaters. but also all these companies like Disney, especially Disney, have their own conventions now. D23, arguably bigger than Comic Con, which is crazy. But so Comic Con is not no longer the sort of press kit movie house anymore. Comic Con's gonna have a lot of panels with the traditional Comic Con stuff before the movies came in the 2000s ish. It's gonna be like talking about comic books, talking about specific comic books, talking about pop culture things, but without the veneer of like this is big studio stuff. You have to see it exclusive. It's just like fans enjoying stuff and marginal celebrities like cartoon voice actors and actors from old TV shows. Maybe I don't know. It's just like yeah, it's just more of a fun-based celebrity interaction as opposed to a like I said press kit release thing. If you know a few, I was gonna say celebrities. I mean, they're more famous than me. Given that, we start the most obscure Jerry Beck, who is awesome, but he's a cartoon historian. He's gonna be there. There's just people I like that are gonna be there. That's all I'm gonna talk about. He has a panel called "Worst Cartoons Ever." He shows the same cartoons every year, but since the year apart, you get enough space to enjoy it. It's just bad cartoons with a preamble, sort of historical exploration of how these failed properties came to be. They're not just failed; they're actually like uncomfortably, awkwardly terrible, and it's awesome. He's also doing a panel about Harvey Comics covers. Remember Harvey Comics? I don't. I think they did Casper and some other licensed properties, but the covers are it's good artwork. And then very similar to Worst Comics Ever, my other boy, I use the word boy in the vaguely European sense of someone that you support who's not necessarily like the greatest in the world, but you like them and you just stick to that. It's a very particular phrase. It's hard to explain. But Scott Shaw, exclamation point, because that's how he signs his name, is a cartoonist. He's done a lot of like sort of like comic book for hire stuff. That's awesome. Like he's done a lot of Simpsons comics for that Bongo Comics Simpsons adaptations that only nerds talk about. And then he's done some freelance, related freelance stuff. I have some of my collection. He did an Annoying Orange adaptation. Remember Annoying Orange? It was a YouTube thing about an orange with a mouth on it that said annoying things. And then Scott Shaw wrote and designed a comic book about it, and the comic book's better than the live action cartoon thing. Cool, true story. Anyway, he's gonna have. My point was, so Jerry Beck does Worst Cartoons Ever. Scott Shaw does. Oh, before I say that, Scott Shaw also did Captain America, Captain Carrot, not Captain America, not Captain America. Tap my shirt for audio. Captain Carrot and his amazing Zoo Crew, which was this very high concept, very enjoyable series that fell off. Was DC had the rights to these funny animal characters. Funny animal is just a sort of fancy way of saying it's an animal that sort of stands upright, talks, does vaguely human-like things in its cartoon world. He took a bunch of these cartoon animals and made them into a Justice League thing that exists canonically in the funny animal sector of the DC universe, and it's awesome. It should be more well known. He's gonna have a booth at Comic Con where he'll sell some of his books. I'm sure I'm gonna buy some. He'll autograph for you. He'll talk to you. He's a very nice man. He also has a book / comic book panel related to the book called Oddball Comics, where Worst Cartoons Ever is about bad cartoons. Oddball Comics is about oftentimes bad, but sometimes just weird presentation of like awkward comic book covers and concepts. Like I don't know, yeah, like an '80s Superman cover where he's doing something weird. I mean, you have to see it. You have to really see it to understand it. So I recommend. Those are the main things I know about, like for sure happening, because these are people I follow on Facebook and I've interacted with myself over the years at Comic Con, very briefly. So that's my Comic Con rundown. As you can see, it's one of those like, if you like comic books and like cartoon shows and stuff, that's where you're really best served. You can meet people, just watch them pontificate. I don't like the whole you have to meet people, get autographs and stuff. It's a very like self-serving culture. TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at Jason Luna one VS100. Also my Instagram and YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for this show. So you already know. What? Unless you're on iTunes, then I just blew your mind with the possibilities. Social media. So now I'm done about Comic Con. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Marcus will not talk about, because independent of Marcus, we have our own lives. We're twins. We do separate things. What? I'm watching the Twilight Zone methodically, and I talked about this in previous episodes. I won't go too long into it, but Rod Serling Twilight Zone, excellent. No one needs to go through that. The '80s Twilight Zone TV show. What the fuck was that? I was lazy. And then 2000s era aired on freaking UPN. Twilight Zone. Why are we doing this to Jason? Making him watch this for sheer completism? I don't know. Oh man, I'm 39. I don't know why I said that. The show is so frustrating and so it's just like punishing the viewer that I'm gonna quickly run through this now. I've only watched, because I can only handle once a week. I have watched freaking 15 episodes of this show. They do 2 episodes a week because they don't like their audiences very much. I don't know. So what I'll briefly do is I'll discuss the star of each episode, what they're known for, and how they performed as actors in the episode, how much I like them, blah, blah, blah. And then on a scale of 1, which is like a good dentist visit, and scale of 10 to like the dentist being like, oh, yeah, I need you to watch the Twilight Zone from 2002. I don't know. 1 to 10, how frustratingly angry I got with both the poor plotting, poor writing, unfulfilling ending, but a lot of times, which we'll get into, punishing a protagonist with a mean ending that they didn't deserve, which happens way too much in this show. So let's get into it. Our first episode of 2002 Twilight Zone is called Evergreen. Stars Amber Tamblyn. This is like peak Amber Tamblyn. I think Kara was right before this or right after this. I think it was after this. She got Joan of Arcadia, which I think only lasted like 1 or 2 years. I loved that show. The plot was that Joan had visions of God, and she didn't know what to do with them, and they helped her in her life. It was a very sort of good slice of life drama with a fantasy element. And then the only thing I know about Amber Tamblyn is that her dad's Russ Tamblyn, which you may not know the name. And I don't know if kids these days know their West Side Story, but he plays like the Weasley best friend of the main character in the Jets, the New York Jets, but not those New York Jets. Spoiler alert, Russ Tamblyn's character gets stabbed in the Rumble by the Puerto Ricans, the Sharks. And then I'm blanking on his name, but the main character kills the shark, and then that sets off the whole Romeo and Juliet hiding from the cops storyline. The whole point of this, that's Amber Tamblyn's his daughter. Russ Tamblyn's also in Twin Peaks, great show. But and then in like blink if you missed it. I missed it, honestly. I think Django Unchained. They have there's some Western character that Russ Tamblyn's calling back to from a 70s movie, and Amber Tamblyn's his daughter in the movie. And it's in the credits, but I didn't see it. Anyway, Amber Tamblyn performance in this movie, She was not helped by the script because she plays a rebellious teenager. So, oh boy, she really gotta be cartoonishly mean spirited, to put it politely, towards her family, and rejecting the path on a scale of 1 to 10 to annoying. There's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be a lot of high numbers here. Um, I gotta go. I gotta go 10. This scale's useless because okay, the plot real quick. She's a rebellious teen, and they really want you to think she's so rebellious that it's like destructive to the family, and like you have to hate her. So she's like, they really cram it in. She's like, every time someone talks to her, she goes like, no, or mom, you're such a jerk, and she's just like won't do what she's told because, and then the problem is they have to justify so quickly being mean to her because her mom gives her lemonade, and the lemonade has sleeping medication in it, and she passes out, and the whole thing is they move to this mysterious community. When she passes out, she wakes up in like schoolgirl clothes, and she's supposed to be conforming now, and the parents are supposed to be baby faces, good people because they drugged her to help her fit in, and then there's this mysterious patriarch of the village thing. It's kind of a cult, but they make you sympathize with the cult or try to, because they tell her if you do the nice thing and go to school and be a good person, you won't get in trouble. So of course she ditches school and stuff. She tries to run away from the village, and turns out the punishment for escaping the village is they turn you into a tree, and you're a tree forever. You're dead. They murdered Amber Tamblyn because she's a bad person. Because she's a bad teenager. So many people in this world would be dead if this policy was followed. So that was not a good episode. Next episode, One Night at Mercy. The main character is this guy Tyler Christopher, but he's not famous. What does it say he's famous known for? Oh, he's on General Hospital. He plays the doctor in this too, so apparently he only has one role he can play. But anyway, the famous person is Jason Alexander playing Death. Jason Alexander was on Seinfeld. I don't think I'll go any further. The basic plot is Tyler Christopher. He's like, he's in this ER. Everything sucks, and Death comes in, and by talking to Death, convinces Death to pause death in the world entirely. And a lot of weird stuff happens in the ER with people dying. And this is the one on the scale. It didn't do the thing where it sort of like manically punished the main character for no reason, and works through like the whole philosophical thing about the existence of death. The twist was lame. Tyler Christopher was just about to die the whole time when death was paused. It was fine, but it wasn't annoying. But the Jason Alexander really tried hard as an actor, so it was good. Next, we have Shades of Guilt. Oh boy, our main character is this guy Vincent Ventresca, who was the Invisible Man on Sci-Fi. So he's only the 5th most famous Invisible Man in film history. But the star of the episode, which is also the main character, as I'll explain in a second, is Hill Harper. He's that guy from a lot of procedurals, CSI New York, Limitless, Good Doctor. None of those shows are that great. He's in them all. You'd recognize him if you saw him. That's about as good as I can say. This is 10 on the annoying scale. The basic plot is Vincent Ventresca doesn't. Boy, so Vincent Ventresca sees Hill Harper being murdered while he's driving, and he doesn't go out of his way to like open the car door and save Hill Harper. Boo on him, I guess. And so naturally, his punishment is he slowly turns into an African American man and is ostracized by his friends and family for becoming someone he's not. And he becomes Hill Harper. It's very awkward, quasi-racist to have Vincent Ventresca in blackface for half the episode. And then does a full wraparound. Okay, I'm going to lower this to an 8.5 because the ending was at least nice. Now, Vincent Ventresca as Hill Harper is running around confused, and he gets the same attempted murder. It's like a time loop, but this time Vincent Ventresca opens the car door and saves his life, and implying that the cycle has been broken, and maybe Vincent Ventresca learned his lesson. I mean, the lesson is, I guess, it's okay to almost die for a stranger, in theory, but, yep. Okay. Next episode is Dream Lover. Another one where the main character is not the most famous person, but Adrian Pastar. I recognize him from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., playing the General Thunderbolt Ross that no one wants to talk about. It's not quite Harrison Ford. Not quite. What's his name? Kiss the Spider-Woman. William Hurt. There you go. So Adrian Pastar is this writer with writer's block. Oh, wait. So wait. Did I say how good they were? Amber Tamlin had to play a teenager. That was stupid. Jason Alexander. I did do most of these. Okay. Hill Harper. Pretty generic acting, but he was there. It wasn't unbearable. So Adrian Pastar is this writer. He has writer's block. So it's a little confusing. He's like a comic book artist. He draws a woman, and the woman comes to life. And it's Shannon Elizabeth really playing off of the whole, I was sexually attractive in American Pie. I was sexually attractive in this too. And this is television, so I can't do as much with that. But anyway, that's not the problem. And then, so Shannon Elizabeth, I mean, what hasn't been said about Shannon Elizabeth's acting? It stinks, but it was episode gets a 10 on the annoying scale by far because Adrian Pastar believes because he creates Shannon Elizabeth and immediately has sex with her, this fictional cartoon Shannon Elizabeth or whatever, and then Shannon Elizabeth starts leaving the house and dating other men. And Adrian Pastar's like, hey, I created you to be my wife, muse or whatever. Can you stop having sex with other men? And he's being a little more possessive than that, a little meaner, but it's kind of confusing because they're trying to set up the twist, which is, yeah, this is like 11 on the annoying scale. Shannon Elizabeth created Adrian Pastar as a character who was a frustrated writer with writer's block to support her growth, and I guess she learns to get past writer's block by creating writer's block because she deletes Adrian Pastar, and she's actually married to the dude she's been sleeping with this whole time that we thought was cheating on Adrian Pastar. And 12, 13, 14. Urge to Kill Rising. And we're so okay. Let's try to go faster. Cradle of Darkness. Okay, this one's weird. Katherine Heigl. She's in Grey's Anatomy. I think she's kind of she's like not the greatest actress, but she like has like a certain energy of dramatic energy that works okay. But oh boy, she in Austria, and okay, this is actually like a 3 or 4 on the annoying scale. It's not that bad, but she's in Austria in the late 19th century. Well, okay, wait, time travel story. Forgot about this. It's so annoying to explain. She's in the future. And there's this whole convoluted thing that she's gonna travel back in time, but there's no recall button on the time machine. Blah blah blah. She goes back to late 19th century Germany or Austria or whatever the fuck. It's Austria. So she can subterfuge get a job as Hitler's nanny. You see where this is going? Her goal is to kill Hitler. And the episode sort of, okay, the annoying scale is going up a little bit, like 5, because it's not terrible, but it is kind of funny because she spends a lot of the episode like, oh, I don't want to kill the baby. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's also Hitler, and that was your job. And eventually she just sort of like gets past it because she realizes that Hitler's dad is also a fascist douchebag. And she kills the baby in a very clumsy way. I mean, I'm not an expert on baby murder. I'm sure they're all pretty clumsy in their ways. But she jumps off a bridge with the baby, and we're like, oh, Hitler's baby's dead. And then the other governess buys a baby from a homeless woman and puts that in. So can't be too mad at this. It's like the first time in this entire series that this version of the series, at least, someone's like, "Oh yeah, the Twilight Zone had twists in it." So okay, the homeless babies actually became Hitler because of the time travel paradox. It's a meh episode, but it's not annoying. It's not that annoying. So good job. Next, we have Night Root, which is not about a plant that will grow in the morning. That's hilarious. Because, see, the root will become a flower. Yeah, you get it. Night Root, Ione Skye, this is a weird one. Because she was in Say Anything, of course, and other, like, more independent films. And she was already sort of weird, sort of like alternative style of acting, quasi-realism as a teenager, and now she's an adult in this story. And she's just kind of weird. I don't know what a good plot would be for her, but she don't quite fit, and she's not the greatest actress. I wish I had more to say. This is where this episode practically created the rage scale. This is 10. That's just bad, but because she's with her dog taking a walk, and she almost gets hit by a car, and then the story unfolds of how she has this life. She's married to this guy she loves. She has this job of her dreams, and this bus comes every night, and the bus driver's like, "Hey, get on the bus." And the dog really wants to get on the bus. And she's like, "This is weird. Why you ask me to get on a bus when I want to get on a bus?" And she won't get on a bus. And then it turns out, hey, that bus, not only was that the bus to get to heaven, by not listening to the creepy bus driver you don't know personally, you're not going to heaven anymore. Sorry, lady, you did nothing wrong. What the fuck? And there was a whole subplot twist where it's like, the guy she thought after the bus leaves and the episode ends and she goes to purgatory because fuck her for not wanting to get on a bus with a stranger. Don't talk to strangers unless there's a chance of going to heaven, which is what will happen if you talk to strangers. Anyway, turns out her dream husband was just some guy who felt sad for her because she was some lonely biatch walking her dog, and the same thing with her coworkers at her dream job. And it was just like, wow, we're really piling on this woman and not giving her a chance to redeem herself now that she knows the facts. God. Oh my God, this one's even worse. Time lapse. We got Ethan Embry. I do not have a lot of direct Ethan Embry experience. He was, I think, in one of those adult comedies like Road Trip or something. He's best known for Empire Records, which bombed at the box office. No one talks about anymore. So Ethan Embry is literally a guy. I think he's a nurse who's like in love with a nurse. They're like gonna get married, and he keeps having these blackouts. And as the blackouts happen, he keeps getting closer and closer to like a methodical plot to kill the president of the United States. Like every time he like passes out, wakes up, he's driving the car to kill the president. He's like, I don't want to do this. What the fuck's going on? And then blacks out, keeps going, and then turns out what happened is that when he blacked out and the assassination plot was happening, it was very confusing. They were swapping his body out into someone else. Because it's like two endings happen at once. He goes to almost kill the president, and he gets killed. And it's revealed that, hey, that's not Ethan Embry, that's someone else. But also, in order to make this body swap thing work, that allowed them to stop the assassination somehow, they put Embry's consciousness in someone else's body in the hospital forever. So his fiance is like, oh, Ethan Embry vanished and I can't marry him anymore. And there's this fat schlub on a hospital bed who's like, wait, I'm Ethan Embry. It's fucking depressing ending. He literally did nothing wrong. And it was confusing. What the fuck? 10. The show's good for getting your rage out, I guess. This one's also pretty bad. Dead Man's Eyes, which is an indirect adaptation of a good episode from the Rod Serling one, a terrible episode, a mediocre episode from the second show with Jeffrey Tambor in it. So, stranger danger. And also, and then okay, Dead Man's Shoes. We gotta step our game up. Shoes are passe. Everyone's wearing flip flops nowadays. I got it. Dead Man's Eyes. It's not quite like Dead Man's Shoes. Dead Man's Shoes is you put the shoes on and the owner of the shoes possesses you. So in both versions, it's a murdered gangster who's getting revenge. I'm getting ahead of myself. Portia de Rossi. She was on Arrested Development. Was or is married to Ellen DeGeneres. Arrested Development. Much more fun to remember. So there was this murder trial. Portia de Rossi's husband was murdered, and Portia Rossi's upset. Portia Rossi finds in her dead husband's belongings some glasses, and every time she puts on the glasses, she starts visually unfolding from the point of view of her husband, the murder. And then, hey, her husband wasn't murdered by the guy on the trial. No, Portia de Rossi did it, and then had a psychotic break to cover it up. And then, because actors love to do these shitty psychotic breaks to show that they're like good actors, that at the end she realizes she killed her husband, and she's like, oh, I know who killed my husband. It was me. And the camera pulls out, and she's in the straitjacket in the insane asylum. So, I was more disappointed than outright angry. Like the twist is a little. I don't like the crazy person twist. It's not realistic to human psychology to be like, oh, this person's so crazy they forgot what happened in their life and then act normal for 90% of the episode. It's just an acting thing to show off their range. It was still aggravating, but less so. It's like an 8. I don't know what the scale is, but pretty high. The Pool Guy. Because who needs a good title? All right. Lou Diamond Phillips, star of La Bamba. And he's in a lot of B movies and a lot of things and interviews and TV shows. He's Lou Diamond Phillips, bro. He all right. Guess what? He's a pool guy. Oh yeah, oh wait, did I do this right? Oh man. Yeah. So I Only Sky was terrible. I got that already. Ethan Embry. He actually did a very good job acting with a terrible script that was confusing and upsetting. Portia de Rossi. I think it was misuse of her character entirely. She doesn't have a great persona for a grieving widow. She played the hammy psychotic break. That's terrible. As fine as you can, I guess. It's always terrible. Lou Diamond Phillips. And it's pretty bad. And I think it's the script's fault, not his acting, but his performance is not good. Because it's playing off of archetypes and streamlining things a lot. Because the gimmick is, he's this pool guy, so you're already thinking, oh well, not as popular of a joke anymore, but is he fucking the wife? This is on UPM. This is network television. And anyway, well, that was a random aside. So for a while, for all you don't know what he's doing, but anyway, he's cleaning the pool. There's characters there. This guy walks up to him and shoots him, and he wakes up from a dream, and he feels the pain from being shot when he wakes up, and he's confused. He's like, the day keeps relapsing. He gets shot earlier and earlier in the day in more direct ways. This guy shoots him and says, "Wake up, wake up!" And then the plot twist is that he's not. None of this is real. It's like he killed a guy at the pool house and was convicted of the murder, and his punishment in science fiction ways was, hey, let's put him in a static coma machine where he dreams the trauma of what he did to rehabilitate him, and it's still like jail sentence time, but he's like asleep and redoing the dream. It was actually less aggravating because it was so confusing. Like, why does he have to be in a recurring dream machine for prison? So it was like an 8 or a 9, but it was definitely like he did nothing wrong in the whole episode, and they just say, "Oh, off camera or before the dream started, you were a murderer." It's very odd. Why did he murder the guy? I don't really remember or care. Almost there, kind of. Azoth the Avenger is a friend of mine, because that writer got paid by the word for the title. That's how it works. So Patrick Warburton is the biggest star. He was on The Tick. He was Putty on Seinfeld. He has a voice made for voice acting. So Rory Culkin, by far, the at least third, probably more least regarded Culkin. He's a big fan of this Conan the Barbarian knockoff called Azoth the Avenger, and Azoth the Avenger comes to life and helps him learn a lesson, and really drags on. It's like Azoth just sticks around, interacts with the boy's dad, and then the boy's mom, and then Azoth loses faith in himself. Rory learns lessons, and this is didn't have a tragic plot because it's about a boy, so they're not gonna make the boy a surprise serial killer or banish him to hell on accident or whatever. So, it was like a terrible episode though, but the rage was very soft. It was like a 1. It was like a 1. No, 2 because it's better. It's not as good as the Jason Alexander one. The Lineman. Good God. Jeremy Piven, now known as quasi-blacklisted in Hollywood, I think, or something. And he was on Entourage, playing a stereotype of an agent. He's on the Cupid Show, and for a while he did a lot of sassy movies, sassy characters in movies. Sarcastic best friend. So, man, it's so contrived. It's like, yeah, his performance is terrible because he's kind of not his fault because it gets into science fiction things and psychological, a lot crazy, and it's a good acting thing. Anyway, he's a lineman. Okay, one of those guys who gets on the top of electric poles and fixes them, and he gets struck by lightning and has psychic powers, and the episode is just so meandering because he gets psychic powers, so he sort of like rushes through a bunch of different phases of activity. There's a lot of like, oh, I thought you were talking. I didn't know I was psychic. And then he makes money gambling by reading the psychic, and then he he seems to turn a corner and fall in love with Olivia Dabo, who is a beautiful woman. She was an '80s actress who played like a lot of fantasy characters. I don't know what she was in. Yeah, but then he turns the corner again, turns evil, alienates Olivia Dabo and his best, and also another character who's his best friend, turns evil, and it looks like he by circumstance gets struck by lightning again or something. I don't remember, but then he just keeps having this psychological thing. This is a 10. It was bad that his character was stuck that way and they didn't like get him out of it. But just like the compulsive acting, like, oh, I'm a crazy person. I can read thoughts. I'm reading thoughts constantly. I have a headache. It's like one of the worst things I've ever seen in that genre of acting. And the ending was confusing and just stop talking about this so much. Harsh Mistress, Lucas Haas. Fun fact: Lucas Haas was in the '80s Twilight Zone. Amazing stories. In this show, apparently. Yes. He's always been a good actor. He's really let down by the sort of like flimsy plot archetype thing. At least it's clear, I guess. But so Lucas Haas buys a classic guitar at a pawn shop, and unbeknownst to him, it's a possessed guitar that was owned by a suicidal famous guitarist, and he becomes in a very like rushed way. It's like ridiculous, like scene by scene. They're just like, "Oh, you're famous now. Oh, you're making money now. Oh, everyone loves your guitar playing now." But anyway, he becomes famous guitarist, gets corrupted by the thing. The guitar murders his girlfriend, which was frustrating. 10, already 10. Anyway, he kills himself in an attempt to satisfy or get rid of the guitar, and someone else finds the guitar, and 10. Upgrade. One of the few episodes without a famous person in it, really. Susanna Thompson. Remember Little Giants? I barely do. She also played a character on Deep Space Nine. I'm watching Deep Space Nine right now. I do not recognize this reference. That is weird. Anyway, Susanna Thompson. She's this housewife. She gets a new house with her family. The kids are brats. They're very poorly characterized, and her husband's a bit of a goof. And she kind of like. It's weird because she had this. Okay, this is 10. You'll see why in a second. She half-heartedly goes like, hey, I don't like my family, blah, blah, blah. But she doesn't do anything about it. But then suddenly, one by one, her family gets replaced by better versions of her family. And the whole episode is so stressful because she's just like, hey, you're not my family. Can I, like, go back to where my family was? And she's like earnestly doesn't want this to happen. And eventually, she gets replaced. And then the camera pulls back for one of the dumbest twists in the Twilight Zone franchise. Because, it's a little girl at her computer. She says she's playing a family game and got an upgrade. So, there's a game where the goal is to replace your middle-class family with mildly annoying people to an upper-class family with less annoying people. And then the graphics on our screen, it's like hand-drawn cartoon lines. That's supposed to be the episode of the Twilight Zone we just watched. And then, what does that mean for the world of the game? How complex is the game? Does the game just end there? 10. And then 2 left. God, this took too long. To protect and serve. We got Usher. I mean, he's a singer. Yeah. It's a pretty simple plot. He's a cop, and I think I don't remember he kills him or if he just dies independently. His pimp dies, who's abusing his prostitute, and Usher wants to help her, and so the pimp harasses her and him through ghost phones and stuff, and in the process of fighting him, he ends up dying, and he gives one last phone call to his partner, where he's like, "Job done." It's a little confusing, little ghost interaction. Much better generic ending. Instead of copying a twist from or something, it was at least it was like he did the right thing and he sacrificed himself, and so it's not annoying. I mean, it's like a four because it is annoying to watch a bad plot don't end. Oh my God! Remember when it's like, oh, don't get on the bus, but the bus was awesome, and now you can't get on the bus anymore. Then I told you. Chosen, starring Jake Busey. He's the other Busey, Gary Busey's child. He was in the blanking the Michael J. Fox movie directed by the Lord of the Rings guy, Peter Jackson, about the Frighteners. He was in that. Oh yeah, Usher's pretty flat, but aided by a simple script as an actor. Susanna Thompson was a pretty good actress. Okay, that's it. Jake Busey, he's terrible. He's always like he's playing this angry stoner lead singer of the Offspring guy all the time, even in his dramatic dialogue. What the fuck's going on, man? Jake Busey's this gross. I said it. Gross, broke, loser. Lost his girlfriend. He's trying his best. He's failing miserably. Blah blah blah. And he keeps getting these evangelists come to his door and give him a VHS tape of this prophet talking about the Armageddon. And Jake Busey's like, what the fuck's going on? And he doesn't want to go along with it. And then suddenly, his ex-girlfriend, who he alienated earlier in the show, comes back and is like, I love you. Don't you want to be in that cult that the evangelists were talking about? So Jake Busey's like, this is weird. He's like, I don't like the cult. And he barricades his house. And when the cult people come to bother him, he shoots one of them. And it turns out, oh, he fucked up. Because who doesn't love door-to-door religious salesmen? You should have listened to them explicitly and done whatever they said, because they were right about the apocalypse and the rapture's happening, and all the cult people, including all Jake Busey's friends, going to heaven. Jake Busey's left alone because he didn't want to join a cult that was poorly represented by two people at his door. That's the lesson of this show. Literally. The Jehovah's Witnesses come to your door. My God. Sign up for their branch of Christianity right away. The fuck? So yeah, that show is not worth talking about, but it's fun to vent on. Can't imagine why that show didn't last more than one season. But thanks to the 2 episodes per thing. It's technically 43 episodes of this shit. I'm gonna watch all of them because I'm a completist. So there you have it. This has already gone on too long. Stay tuned for regular Twin Bill. And until then, stealing this from This Week in SNL. Peace. We out of here.